So welcome everyone to Wellspring session on stress reduction and relaxation for the season. You know, we're all experiencing stress for a whole bunch of reasons these days. Not just for health concerns, but it's concerns over COVID-19, the stress around perhaps lockdown, stay at home, restricted living, or many of us feeling a grief, a sense of loss over the loss of lifestyle that we're used to, and perhaps feeling grief around not being able to connect with family members as we would normally do. So there's all kinds of reasons for us to learn techniques that can help to eliminate the buildup of stress. Very often we're just not sure how to cope in these very unusual circumstances. So today's session is on stress reduction, but it's also relaxation. We'll learn some meditations. We'll learn various techniques, quick fix practices that can help to take the static zzz out of our um, stressful body, how to release that stress. Like the pressure builds up in an engine, keeps us going, keep the engine going, but we've got a pressure build up. We need to find those buttons so that we can release the stress. So for those of you who have not met me, my name is Tony Murdock, and I've been teaching meditation for about 25 years. I've been working through various Wellspring locations for the last 14 years or so. And, Niagara area included. So we're on webinar format, so I can't see who is there, but welcome everyone, returning students and new students. We're going to get right down to it. We have 2 hours together. And what we're going to do is some very simple stress reduction practices to begin with, leading us into some meditations. We'll take a 5-minute pause around the 11 o'clock mark, and then just for a stretch and a move about. And you can do that anyway, anytime. But just to have a little pause from, paying attention to what I'm saying and paying attention to the practices. And then after that few minutes, we'll reconvene and go right up until about 10 till 12 to open the door, so to speak, give you an opportunity to ask questions. So you can ask questions anytime via chat or the Q&A. In fact, I'm not sure if the chat window is open, but Q&A, you can move through there and ask questions, and I'll monitor as best I can and respond when the time is appropriate. So we don't have verbal interaction in this format, but we can, stay attuned to each other through the keyboard. Okay. So we're going to get going here with something that's not on the handout for today's session, but it's something that I learned a long time ago called the crown pull. We're going to work a little bit on clearing energy from the body, getting rid of that static feeling that we have, the brain fog that we might feel, whether it's a result of just lack of sleep or normal stress fatigue, or perhaps as a result of medication. We get that brain fog feeling. So this technique is called the crown pull. Now, you can see it demonstrated on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and just key in the crown pull and the name Donna Eden, E-D-E-N, you'll see her do a whole bunch of different stress reduction practices, energy realignment practices. We're just going to touch on a few of these as they relate to what we're going to be doing today. So those of you who are returning students, this will be a nice refresher for you. Often we forget the very basic and simple techniques that we're about to do here. So the crown pull. We bring our fingers together like so. This is a thing. This is called Hakini Mudra. Mudra means seal. We seal a flow of energy between our fingertips. And this is something that we often do without even knowing that we're doing it. It's something we understand instinctively or intuitively, where it allows us to listen better, listen more acutely. It helps us to pay attention. And people will often do this to give their hands something to do, but they're often doing this to pay attention to the teacher. Or I've seen sportscasters do this, just pay attention to the camera and pay attention to what's going on around them. But it's something we can do at any time just to get a sense of balance and harmony going in our body, just holding our fingers like so. But this is the position that we start with. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths just to help to oxygenate our blood, get rid of the carbon dioxide. Let's take a nice, slow, deep inhalation. Holding the breath for a moment, a big sigh out. Once again, inhaling deeply. Once again. Okay, that's just our preparation. Now, let's bring our hands up like so. I'm bringing my thumb tips up to the bottom part of the forehead between the eyebrows, just above where the eyebrows meet. I press my thumbs in gently but firmly. Ladies, if you have nails, just be careful. Don't want to gouge yourself. So pressing in gently but firmly, and then spreading the thumbs out to the temples, like so. Once again, I do this 3 times. I can't recall what Donna Eden does, but I like 3. Okay, there's my third. Now I bring my fingernails together and the fingertips straight up from the bridge of the nose. Once again, I press in gently but firmly and then spread the fingers out toward the temples. A little flick. We're flicking away static energy. We have biochemical, bioelectric, electromagnetic energy radiating out from us at all times. We're just clearing that static energy. Now, as if we have a part down the center, and here I apologize for hairstyles and hairdos. We bring our fingers up a little bit and we pull down like so, a little flick, and like so. We work our way back, massaging the hemispheres, like so, flick. Get to the back of the head, we're pulling forward. Let's get rid of that static energy and fold forward from the back. The crown pull. One of the first techniques that I learned these are what are called energy medicine techniques, and different ways to help us to be proactive, to take charge of our energy field. We do what we need to do to take care of our physical body, but there's also an energy field, and this helps to clear the static energy from our energy field. And it helps the brain cells, helps to hopefully have just a little bit of a wider perception, a little more clarity. So I add a few things to this, taking our knuckles and gently wrapping the skull like so. Hello, anyone home? Non-violent zone, so not too hard. Fingertips, massaging. Getting those synapses going, so the signals will go from brain cell to brain cell. Okay, a little flick. Now, hold the little finger down with the thumb. These fingers are together like so. Let's tilt our head back, and we insert these fingers, the 3 fingers from each hand, into the base of the skull. There's a little indent there. It's where the medulla oblongata is. We tilt our head back, we press in gently but firmly, and we rotate 3 times one way, 3 times the other, close your eyes, gaze up at the forehead. Feel that energy flowing into and throughout your body. This is a gateway, according to yogis out of India, a gateway for energy. We're opening the gate, allowing energy in. Very often we can feel revitalized when we do this. Okay, now just tilt the head back. I'm relaxing my arms and then letting the head drop forward. And there we go. So hopefully your mind is a little clearer and a little more focused. We're going to do one more sequence here. And this helps to clear what are called the governing lines in the body. We have lines that are running up and down, vertical, and just helps to clear these lines. They're tied to our fingers and our toes, but we're going to work with the arms and the fingers here. And it's balancing the left and right energies in our body. What is understood within energy medicine and the yoga tradition out of India is that we have, well, medical science tells us too, the brain, we have left brain, right brain, they have different functions, but the left side and the right side of our body have different functions too, and the energy centers in the spine. So a lot of yoga that we do, the postures and breathing techniques and meditations are designed to help us to center the energy in our spine, balance the left and right flow of energies so that we are a little more harmonized. So this technique that we're about to do will help to harmonize this energy. My right hand, I'm bringing up to my right hemisphere, sweeping over the head, down the left side, left shoulder, down my arm. I'm raising my arm up so you can see what I'm doing, grabbing the thumb and pulling. I do the same thing. Right hand, right side, over the head, down to the left shoulder, down the left arm to my first finger. I pull. And you get the idea here. We're going to do this with each finger. And there's my 5 fingers. So what we do to one side, we do to the other. My left hand now comes to the left hemisphere, sweeping over the head, down the right side, right shoulder, right arm, grabbing the right thumb, pulling. And I repeat for each of the fingers. And there, I've done that 5 times to each side. Now I feel pretty good. I feel that my energy has been a little freed, a little more centered, a little more balanced. Hopefully you do too. So a very simple practice to help us to become rebooted. Now, we're going to move into our first preparation for meditation. You know, these were preparations that we just did, but this is more of a formal practice when we're ready to sit down. And many of you who have been in previous sessions of mine will recall this one. I teach this quite often. I find it's a practice that's very important for everyone. And in Sanskrit called Kurma Nadi. The Tortoise Center, or I call it the Tortoise Meditation. Nadi means channel. There's a center channel in the body. I call it a center because we're accessing at a certain point, which is right here, right where the button is pretty well. Kurma means tortoise. So kurma, tortoise, turtle. And just think of what the tortoise is for us, what it does. It has this protective shell. It can retract its forelegs and its head into the shell, and some say the tail. So it goes in there for protection. So if we think about what we're wanting to do here with this practice, we're going to withdraw our awareness from all external distractions. If you like, we're going to withdraw our 5 senses from all external distractions. We're going to internalize, just like the tortoise bringing in its forelegs and its head into the shell. The tortoise is known for longevity. It's known for having a very slow metabolism, a very slow heart rate, a very slow breath rate. So this practice helps us to slow down our metabolism, helps us to become more prepared for meditation. But it is also a wonderful practice to do for stress reduction, a quick fix stress reduction technique. 3 to 5 minutes of this is all you need. And I could share all kinds of stories. I have in previous sessions, testimonials coming back from people who have used it in real life stressful situations where it's calmed them down, or they have shown this to someone else who is in need of some stress reduction. So in the field, in a real life situation, they explain what it is I'm about to explain, and people have benefited from it. So it's been tested in real life situations many, many times. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take another few deep breaths. We're going to find what's called the sternal notch, which is where the collarbones come together. Collarbones come together here, forming the sternal notch, little indent. We're going to go down about an inch, right about where the button is here. Go down about an inch. Your finger does not need to be on skin. It can be through clothing. And we are going to keep our attention here. One of the basic guidelines for any meditation is you maintain a relaxed but focused attention on what it is that you are doing. You maintain a relaxed but focused attention on your practice. So we maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this spot. You can think of your rib cage as your tortoise shell. As you retract your awareness inward, withdrawing your awareness inward for introspection, for that meditation, or if you're feeling stressed because of all these external situations out here, then you are withdrawing your connection to the causes of your stress. You're moving inside, you're taking control, and you are bringing yourself into a place of balance. And we practice this for up to 5 minutes. Very often when I've used this out in the field with people, 90 seconds, 2 minutes is sometimes all that's needed. But we're going to practice here for a couple of minutes just to, I'll talk you through it, just to make sure you're following the guidelines. Now, there are two options here. Very often out in the field in real life situations, I very simply ask people to hold their finger here and pay attention to the contact point. But the fuller practice is like this. We go inside with our awareness. We go half an inch inside. We imagine a 3/4 inch long vertical tube, vertical up and down, like a stretched out tortoiseshell shape, a little wider in the center. And we picture this tube, 3/4 inches long, half an inch inside, as blue or green or blue-green in color. That's our practice. So if that's too much to remember as a visual, if you're having trouble visualizing, if you have trouble visualizing, you can imagine. If you have trouble imagining, you just pretend. So either paying attention to the contact point or visualizing that tube half an inch inside. So let's get comfortable. Sitting upright, ideally. If you're lying down, that's okay too. I know people who have used this as a technique to help themselves go to sleep, but we'll learn a sleep technique a little bit later. All right. Normally you would take 10 deep breaths, but we'll do 3 here. We did 3 earlier. Let's inhale deeply, shrug the shoulders up, roll the shoulders back with the out breath. Once again, breathing in deeply, shrugging the shoulders up, rolling the shoulders back with the out breath. And once again, breathing in deeply, shrugging up, rolling back with the out breath. Close your eyes. Find the sternal notch where the collarbones come together. Slide your finger down about an inch, any finger. Hold your finger here lightly. Maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this contact point. If you want to try the visualization, move your awareness half an inch inside of the contact point. Visualize or imagine a 3/4 inch long vertical tube, a little wider in the center. That's blue or green or blue-green in color. And you maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this spot. If your mind drifts away, simply come back to the practice. We have a lifetime of experiencing mind drift. It's a challenge for us very often to keep our attention on a single spot for a long time. But if we practice, we can get better at it. So patiently and persistently, we maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this spot. If it helps, just think of the tortoise withdrawing its forelegs and its head into its shell. You are retracting your senses inward, disconnecting from all external distractions. You are internalizing. And you might even find after these few moments of practice that your breathing is slowing down, fewer breaths per minute. Your heart rate is slowing down. You might even imagine that you are in a protective shell. All around you, a cylinder, a cocoon of energy, and you feel protected within this cocoon of energy. Nothing outside can get to you. Nothing inside can affect you in a negative way. You feel protected. Okay. Now relax your hand. Simply sit still with awareness for a few moments. Do a little self-assessment. How do I feel now as compared to before I started? Okay, take a nice slow deep inhalation, gently tensing the whole body. Exhaling and relaxing. So that's the Kurma Nadi. Ideally, for a meditator, they would do this practice. You could do the crown pull, you could do the energy clearing, go right to Kurma Nadi, and then move right into meditation. It actually takes quite a few minutes of time off of your meditation. What I'm trying to say is you go more quickly into meditation rather than just saying ready, set, go, and you sit down and so I'm going to meditate now, but your mind is restless, mind's busy, and you spend the first half of your meditation, just quieting the mind if you're successful in doing that. This practice will cut away all that settling down time. It'll allow you to have a calmer mind much more quickly. Really does help in preparation for meditation. But as a standalone practice, it is a great technique to help you when you're in the midst of stress. You need to calm down. So highly recommended. Again, for those of you who have been in previous sessions, I teach this a lot. I teach it a lot because I feel it's one of those techniques, one of those billion-dollar techniques that everyone should know about. So hopefully this will be of help to you in these stressful times. Okay. We're going to move now into more of a traditional meditation. Now I'm just checking for Q&A. I don't see anything. I don't see anything in chat coming on. If you did put something in chat earlier, if you could put it on again. I just switched my setting. So I'm not sure if I'm able to see previous comments that are made, but I'll keep my eye open for any comments or questions, and I'll relay them to you. How do I spell the technique? Good question. K-U-R-M-A. Kurma means tortoise. Nadi, separate word. N-A-D-I means channel. Right in the center here. The tortoise channel, I call it the tortoise center, or very simply the tortoise meditation. I learned this at the Yoga Center of California. This is actually, people often ask, who are these people behind me? This is my meditation teacher. He founded the Yoga Center of California 50 years ago. Today they're celebrating 50 years of being in operation. Well, they're online now, as everyone is. His name is Ramakrishna Ananda, or Graham Ledgerwood. And I learned the technique from him, and I used the write-up for this technique, the technique that I provided, and I put it on my website. I did a Google search back in those early days to see if anyone else had written anything on Kurma Nadi. Nothing. I couldn't find anything. In fact, all I came up with was my website where I posted this. Flash forward several years later, so about a year or two ago, I did a little internet search, and a lot of people have commented on it. There are a lot of varieties of practices. This is how the technique has been interpreted from my school of thought, but other people have interpreted the technique in other ways. So you can find variations of this. And one interesting variation I found was in Chinese yoga, Chinese energy medicine. They go to a very similar place. Rather than going an inch down, they go 2 inches down. And they go 2 inches down and do exactly the same thing. And as in acupuncture and acupressure, they label all the contact points around the body. And they have a label for this one. It's letter C -17. And I practiced Kurma Nadi going 2 inches down just to see if it worked, and it did. So it worked just as well, but my habit, because of the way I've been taught, is going an inch down. So if you want to practice the Chinese energy medicine approach to a de-stressing technique like Kurma Nadi, you go 2 inches down rather than 1 inch down. So you can look that up as well and get more information. All right then. So a simple meditation. This is as simple as it gets. This is a practice taught by Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. He practices and teaches a very simple form of Zen meditation. Zen is a type of Buddhist meditation. And his meditation is nourishment, as he calls it. And there's a statement that he uses, and I realize it's not on the handout, but I'll share it with you now. The difficulty is in the simplicity. The difficulty is in the simplicity. this meditation is as simple as meditation can be. But we get challenged by it because our mind is used to being restless, it doesn't want to settle. So we create our own difficulty with a technique that is as simple as it gets. And this is what we're going to do. So I share that with you because I want you to realize that you'll be bringing your attention back to the simple technique often. It's a rare person who can go really, really still in the early stages of meditation. Generally takes practice, like learning how to play an instrument. You have to practice a lot to get better. Same with meditation. You need to practice a lot to get better. So we're going to pay attention to our breathing, the in-breath and the out-breath. And I'm going to suggest some words to use in the practice, like affirmations. Like, for example, breathing in, I am calm, or my body is calm. Breathing out, I smile. That's as simple as it gets. And there's another phrase I'll introduce after we begin to practice. And I'm going to suggest to you, invite you to smile with your practice. When we smile, it actually releases endorphins and it makes us feel a little more uplifted. So we don't need to frown in our meditations. Why not smile? Makes us feel better. So I'm going to guide you in this simple meditation practice. We'll practice for a few minutes. People who do this as a formal practice will actually do the technique for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, longer sometimes. And then you are really learning how the waves of your mind function. Speaking of waves, just think in terms. Right now, there's a wind blowing on a lake, and when on the surface of the lake, and there are waves on the lake. So our consciousness is moving through the field of our mind or through the lake of our mind. Keep the analogy clear. And there are waves in our consciousness, waves in our mind. So when we take the wind away, we take the energy away from thinking, and we learn to sit back within ourselves and be an observer to our thoughts. And I'll guide you in that. The lake of our mind, you've seen this on a lake where the wind quiets down. Eventually the lake becomes like a sheet of glass, like a mirror reflecting the sky. So when we take the energy out of our thinking, and we need to think during the day to, work, have conversations, drive the car, but meditating is taking a break from all that. We step back and we allow everything to quiet down, like machinery. It needs to rest every once in a while. We need to rest. And very often with these techniques, we intentionally rest. Yes, we relax during our sleep and we get recharged in our sleep, but sometimes we wake up in the morning and we don't feel refreshed because there's still a lot of turbulence and activity going on within us, even as we're sleeping. So meditation helps us to calm this turbulence with intention. All right then. So let's prepare ourselves. I'll guide you in this simple practice. Let's take another deep inhalation, shrug the shoulders up. This helps us straighten the back. Roll the shoulders back with the out breath. Helps to take tension from the shoulders. Let's do one more. Close our eyes. And let's pay attention to our normal breathing. We are breathing through our nostrils. We're not doing any controlled breathing as we do in some breathing practices, pranayamas. We follow the normal rhythm of our breathing. We pay attention to the flow of the breath when it comes in. We pay attention to the flow of the breath when it flows out. We can Pay attention to the flow of the breath as it flows across the rims of the nostrils. And we maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this sensation as we're breathing normally. Now, the mind often needs something to do. It's used to being busy, so we will give our mind something to do, some words to repeat to help to keep our attention focused. As we're breathing in, we think, I am calm, or my body is calm, or my mind is calm. Breathing out, I smile into this calmness. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I smile into my calmness. Think of Buddha smile, the Mona Lisa smile, the hint of a smile, an inner knowing. You know something that other people don't know. The inner smile. I am calm, I smile. And we maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this process. If your mind drifts away, come back. Come back with patience. Come back with persistence. Step back within yourself and be in a cocoon of stillness. See if this helps. Be in a cocoon of stillness. Be an observer to your thoughts, to your emotions, to your physical sensations. Be an observer. Watch your thoughts as if you're watching a parade go by, or a flock of birds fly by, or leaves floating down a stream. Simply observe. Try to be in the present moment, letting thoughts of the past go, letting thoughts of the future go. Just release them. Don't engage with them. I am calm. I smile. I am in the present moment. And it's a wonderful moment that I'm in. I am in the present moment. And it's a wonderful moment that I'm in. Calm. Smile. Present moment. Wonderful moment. Think of the calm lake, the wind quieting down, the lake becoming like a sheet of glass, your mind becoming like a sheet of glass, the lake becoming like a mirror reflecting the sky, your mind becoming like a mirror reflecting what's in your higher consciousness, in your higher mind. The lake of my mind is still, not a ripple of self, or will. You maintain a relaxed but focused attention on this process. We're going to meditate together for a quiet minute. I'm in Mississauga. A Mississauga minute. All right. Now let's return to body awareness, becoming more aware of the weight of our body, becoming more aware of our meditation seat. Let's take a nice slow deep inhalation, gently tensing the body, exhaling and relaxing. So that is a very simple but effective meditation practice. I teach a lot of different techniques in the various sessions that I present at Wellspring and other locations. But this is as simple as it gets, but you don't need complicated. You don't need complex. Simple is good, but it takes a while for our mind that's used to activity and multiple things. We're used to dual tracking, multitasking. It takes a while for our mind just to disconnect from all that, just to learn to be still, learn to be. We're so used to being human doings, we forget how to be human beings. One of my colleagues, when she was a young girl, was just sitting in her bedroom looking out her bedroom window at the fields and watching the butterflies and the squirrels and the birds and just thinking how peaceful that was. And she was feeling nice and content. And her mother comes in the room and says, "What are you doing? You need to be doing something. Stop being lazy." And of course, that was the activity of her generation, need to be kept busy and active and always doing something, not being idle. So that was drilled in her at an early age. And then she learned yoga, she learned meditation. She became a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher. And she rediscovered that inner stillness and inner harmony that she had found as a child, but it was practiced out of her. Other things got in the way, and she rediscovered that, and then remembered her time as a child, and realized, we can still be active in the world and be busy in the world, but our center can be calm, and that's the whole idea. So this practice helps us to find that calmness. And I always think of a lake. There's a teacher in India from the end of the late 1800s. His name was Ramakrishna. He would tell his followers that whenever you see a wide body of water, just sit down and meditate. Allow your mind to become still by reflecting on the body of water in front of you. So we don't always have water before us, but when we do, we can always take a few moments and just think of the calm mind, or we can just close our eyes and picture a wide body of water and enjoy that calmness. Thich Nhat Hanh meditation. Meditation is nourishment. We feel nourished. There's an inner, I use the term, inner wellspring. You know that term? An inner wellspring of calmness that can come up within us like a fountain, and it just washes over us and it nourishes us. So according to meditators, that is within us. It's within our grasp. We just need to know how to get there and how to find it. And that's what these techniques are designed to do, is find that inner calmness, find that inner peace, or as some say, find the inner bliss. And when we find that, we don't feel as much stress because our attention is on the calmness. Okay, I'm going to shift here a little bit. And this is a technique I've often done full workshops. In fact, I've recently done a 2-hour workshop on loving kindness. In fact, I've just finished two 90-minute classes through Wellspring on loving kindness. I'm just going to touch on the technique. This is a technique that we all need. We just need to be kind. In fact, the Dalai Lama was approached once and says, what can you tell us? Just in a moment, what can you share with us as a teaching, as a philosophy for life and for living? And he said, be kind to people. That was it. Just be kind to people. So we can experience a lot of inner calmness and inner peace and reduce a lot of stress inside of us just by being kind with people. And this is the time of year, and I'm often sharing that this is the time of year we get together with family, although it's stressful for other reasons. We might not be getting together with family the way we normally do, many of us. But we get together with family, and what does family know how to do better than anyone? They know how to press their buttons. So we're getting together during these, holiday times, and very often it can be stressful. It can be, lots of nurturing, a lot of loving, but sometimes there's a stress too because old buttons are easily pressed and sometimes intentionally manipulated. So one of the ways of dealing with that is what the Buddhists call metta meditation. So I've got my Buddha image right here, as you can see. Often people are asking, who's behind me? Well, there's Buddha. I've already mentioned my teacher. Then it's one of my teacher's teachers. He's sitting with teacher here. His name is Baba Haridas, someone that came from India to live in California, and he practiced silence his whole life. He just wrote on a chalkboard. And of course, over here, my ancestors have come from Nova Scotia. One branch of my family came from Nova Scotia. And that's a painting of the harbor at Peggy's Cove. So it just reminds me of wonderful few days that we spent in that area. And someone just mentioning they're from Cape Breton. So maybe we're related. Who knows? So I did some ancestry work, and a lot of my family through my mother's line came from that area. In fact, a whole branch of the family came from Massachusetts. And I just discovered through family search that through one branch of the family that I hadn't researched, I hadn't gone back far enough, that I am connected to a passenger who was on the Mayflower. So I'm one of 30 million people that descend from the Mayflower. So that was just recent knowledge for us. Anyway, that's just a little fun trivia on the side. Loving kindness. Learning to love loved ones, or practicing loving loved ones, is something that can be very nurturing. Yes, we have loved ones, but doing a formal practice where we sit and practice loving loved ones can be very nurturing. So with this particular technique, we're going to do the following. Excuse me just for a moment. Take a sip of water. We're going to imagine that there is an infinite reservoir of loving kindness all around us. We're going to visualize this infinite reservoir of loving kindness as a luminous cloud over our head. We're going to be open and receptive and allow moonbeams of light like a gentle rain to shower down over us, and we are going to feel that we are becoming filled with loving kindness. Stage one, we are going to feel that we are being filled with loving kindness. Then we will feel loving kindness for ourselves. That's a tricky one for a lot of people. Do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Can you love yourself? So we like it when other people love us, but do we love ourselves? So we feel that we're filled with loving kindness. We feel loving kindness for ourselves. Then we're going to bring to mind one loved one for this practice today. We'll just choose one loved one and feel the love that you have for this loved one. Feel a flow of love for the loved one. After a few moments, we'll let the loved one go. After we start to feel this flow of love for the loved one, we'll let the image go. We'll bring to mind a friend and feel loving kindness for the friend. You just focus on a friend and feel. You can feel that they are being filled with your loving kindness, but the emphasis that I want to focus on for today is the feeling of our flow of loving kindness flowing out from us, in this case to our friend. Then we'll choose a neutral person or an acquaintance and feel the loving kindness for that person. And after a few moments, we'll let that person go, and we'll bring to mind one person in your life who you find to be mildly irritating. One person who you find to be mildly irritating, and feel loving kindness for them. That's a tricky one. Often we have a storyline associated with that. We want to let that storyline go. We want to let blame go. They could be annoying for a number of reasons. But the thing is, here's a little Buddhist psychology here. It's Western psychology too. But we are wired in a way where when other things happen, because of our behaviors and our experiences, other things happen, we get triggered and we get annoyed by other people. And we blame these other people, whatever their actions are, for affecting our peace of mind. So if we can rewire ourselves by practicing this continuous flow of loving kindness for our loved ones, for our friends, for even strangers, but if we can feel that same flow of loving kindness for that person who is mildly irritating, not the big enemy kind of person, that's sort of for a later practice, another practice, but mildly irritating, that goes a long way to putting us in control of our own life. It puts us in control of our own life. Other people can do whatever it is that they do, whether it's intentional or not intentional, to annoy us. Sometimes just other people's behavior annoy us, like driving your car and someone does something and we're annoyed at their driving habits, and then that annoyance has thrown us out of our happy mood, our peaceful mood. But we don't know that person. They've done a behavior that's triggered us, we judge it, and it throws us off. So if we practice this loving kindness process, then we're in the driver's seat. Following that metaphor, we're in the driver's seat. We're in control. Those other people can do whatever it is that they're doing, but we're in our nice little peaceful bubble. It's like water off duck. It's just their actions are just washing over us. We're still peaceful on the inside. That's what we're doing with this. All right, we're going to do a short practice of this, then we'll take a short break just to stretch. In fact, it's 5 till right now, and this practice may take about 10 minutes. So why don't we, I've just prepared ourselves for the practice. Why don't we take just a few minutes to stand and stretch? If you need to use the facilities, go ahead and do so. And it'll put us in a better place where we can sit and focus our attention and practice. So I'm going to get up and stretch, just walk down the hall, take 2 or 3 minutes, probably all that we need, just to get the energy flowing and get the kinks out of our body. And then we'll settle in for this practice and continue on with our other techniques. So starting now, I've got about 10:56, so we'll make sure by 11 o'clock latest, we're back at it after our little energy stretch. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Let's give people another minute to come back in and settle. I had to close the door. We have cats that will be joining us otherwise. Tails walking by. Sometimes they walk across the camera, so I have to keep the door closed. And actually, they're working the other part. My window over here faces a courtyard. We're in a townhouse complex, and they're doing tree trimming today. So I chatted with them earlier, explained that I'm working from home. Otherwise, I would be at the Wellspring studio or location. And told them, the type of class. So they agreed to do their trimming at the far end of the courtyard until 12 o'clock. So very nice of them. They just kind of reorganized their schedule so that we'd have a quieter time here. We have trees right outside the window here, and they'd be trimming those if I hadn't spoke with them. Okay. So we're pretty well at time here. So I'm going to get started again. Loving kindness technique. Thought it'd be good to have a quick break because this technique requires some focused attention. And intention is a good word here because we are intending to tap into this feeling of loving kindness. We're intending to have this flow of loving kindness. We are an open instrument, letting this loving kindness, we're generating it, but if we don't feel that we have loving kindness to give, we can feel that it's coming from this universal source of loving kindness, and it's flowing through us. So a couple of ways of approaching this. So let's prepare ourselves for this technique. I'll guide you through the various steps of it. And the handout has some affirmations on your own practice. You're welcome to use either one of these affirmations. They are great affirmations. May I be filled with loving kindness, or may this person be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. And a translation from the same source. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be healthy. May I have ease. Or may the person I'm focusing on be safe, be peaceful, be healthy, and be at ease. The reason I'm not including that in our practice here today is that sometimes the words get in the way of the practice. We're so intent on remembering and saying the right words that we're not actually putting our attention on the flow of loving kindness, which is what we're endeavoring to do here. So the intent of what we're doing is primary for the way that I'm addressing the practice today. All right, so let's sit tall. Take a nice, slow, deep inhalation, shrug the shoulders up, roll the shoulders back. If you need to do one more, go ahead, just to take that tension out of the back, out of the shoulders, help to oxygenate the blood and the brain cells. Let's bring our palms together, rub our palms together, palms facing up. Envision a luminous cloud over your body. And from this luminous cloud, descend moonbeams of light like a gentle rain. Moonbeams of light like a gentle rain showering down over you. These moonbeams of light are droplets, you might say, or streams, rays of loving kindness, filling us up. Feel that you are being filled with loving kindness. Metta means loving kindness. It also means compassion. We are being filled with loving kindness and compassion from the universal source. We're tapping in. We are filled. We are being filled. We can visualize ourselves filled with light, surrounded by light. This light has a feeling of loving kindness and compassion in it. And feel now loving kindness for yourself. You can put one palm over the center of your chest, the other palm over the back of it. Feel loving kindness for yourself. Feel that you are wrapped up in loving kindness. You are enveloped with loving kindness. All right, now bring a loved one to mind. Picture your loved one before you and feel a flow of loving kindness for your loved one. Feel a flow of loving kindness for your loved one. Feel the flow of loving kindness. You are directing it toward someone that you love, a loved one. Now at home, well, you're at home, most of you, old habits. On your own practice, in your own time, you can go through all of your loved ones, each of your loved ones, as a loving kindness practice, just practicing feeling the love for each of your loved ones. Here we're simply choosing one. And now we let this one person dissolve in our mind, and we bring to mind a friend. We picture this one friend, and we feel loving kindness for our friend. As a separate practice, you can go through all of your friends, connecting with them and their energy, feeling love for each of them. Here we're simply choosing one for this practice, a friend. Now let the image of the friend dissolve and bring to mind a stranger, a neutral person, an acquaintance, someone that you know to see, you recognize them, but there's no relationship with that person. But nevertheless, you can feel loving kindness for them. Feel loving kindness for this stranger, this neutral person, this acquaintance. All right, letting this person go. Bring to mind one person in your life who you have found to be mildly irritating, just one. Bring that person to mind and feel a flow of loving kindness for them. Let go of the storyline. This is not about agreeing or accepting what they've done or your perception of what they've done. It's not about the framework or the situation. Just taking someone that has triggered a response within you, a sense of annoyance, irritation, and we feel the loving kindness for them. We're overriding the other feeling. We're putting aside perhaps our sense of justification for feeling annoyed, and instead we're putting our intention on this loving kindness. Sometimes when we do this, we get insight into that person's behavior, why they've done what they've done. Sometimes we can get some insight into how or why we've responded the way we responded to what this person has done, or our perception of what this person has done. Another few moments, loving kindness for someone who we have found to be mildly irritating. And now we let the image of this person go, and we feel a flow of loving kindness for everyone, everywhere. Our loving kindness flows out to the left of us, to the right of us, before us, and even flows out behind us. We're the center of loving kindness. Loving kindness is washing out from us like waves, riplets, waves of loving kindness going out to all people everywhere. We feel a connection to humanity. We feel compassion for the suffering of other people. And now just sit relaxed, be still, remain aware. Just feel this loving kindness washing over your whole being once again, settling into your thoughts, your emotions, settling into your life force energy, settling into the cells in your body, the pores in your body. Loving kindness fills your whole being. And now take a slow, deep inhalation, gently tensing the whole body, exhaling and relaxing. For those of you who are into numerology, it's 11:11. 11:12 now, just got it. All right. So the practice of loving kindness. And again, like the Kurmanati technique, where people have shared so many stories, so many testimonials of success. A lot of people who have practiced loving kindness, the same thing. They have practiced it and it has changed their relationships. It takes two to tango, to dance the tango. It takes two to tie a knot, two ends of a rope to tie a knot. We untie the knot. We change the dance with our practice of loving kindness. We change our rhythm, and the other person is forced to change theirs too. Nothing needs to be said verbally, but we're practicing and we're changing the energy connection. So again, so many testimonials. And that's why there's so much written about loving kindness. You can go to the internet, there are books out there, other ways of practicing. This is my favorite way of practicing. There's just so much benefit from it. There's a point I want to make here too, and this comes up in a number of classes. Do I have to focus just on one mildly irritating person? Thing is, if you have a whole list of mildly irritating people, it actually says a lot about how you respond to other people. You're letting so many people irritate you. So change your energy, change how you respond and you react to other people. Be in the driver's seat. Someone does something that's irritating, comes across as an irritation, and goes back as compassion or loving kindness. Now, forgiveness is a part of this, but we don't need to worry about that. That is very often a separate practice to do. Perhaps it's a theme for an upcoming workshop. There's so much around the power of forgiveness in helping us to grow. But with the loving kindness technique and the way we're practicing, you don't need to contemplate the forgiveness aspect of it. You can just focus your attention on the flow of loving kindness. All right. So someone just responded, they like 11:11 too. It's fun. Prime numbers in sequence. Creating your own inner light. Creating your own inner light. Letting your light shine. So there are various ways of practicing this, and it's not the technique that I did during this one particular workshop, but it has to do with light and healing energy. I was asked to be a keynote speaker for the annual Therapeutic Touch Conference in Toronto. Actually, it was Mississauga that year. And I need to learn a little bit about therapeutic touch. So I took some trainings just so I knew the language and knew who my audience was. And before I did my keynote speech, someone had joined a little group. We were just chatting beforehand and only knew a handful of people. In fact, they found me through Wellspring, which is interesting. Wellspring members searched me out. Uh, I was referred and checked out and then asked to be the keynote speaker. So it was a Wellspring connection to all this. But I was chatting with some people, and a person joined our group, and someone asked how she was doing. She said, "Oh, I still feel like I'm under a cloud. I still feel depressed and heavy." And she looked, I never met her before, but she looked very sad. And there wasn't a lot of light around her, light emanating from her. I did the keynote speech. I did a meditation practice very similar to imagining a luminous cloud over our head, feeling that we're filled with healing energy, in this case, loving kindness energy, but healing energy. And just imagine 170 healers in this room, 170 therapeutic touch practitioners in this room, all practicing together. And we all imagine the same cloud over us, moonbeams of light like a gentle rain showering over us, but it's a healing energy, healing light washing down over us. At the end of the session, I was chatting with some people, and this person walks up to me and says, "Thank you," as if she was carrying on a conversation. It took me a few seconds, but it seemed like a long few seconds to realize, who is this person coming up talking to me with familiarity as if we know each other? And it took me those few seconds to realize it was the person who was under a cloud, under a dark cloud beforehand, but I didn't recognize her because she had changed. There was light shining from her. Her facial structure had changed. She was smiling. And she said, that practice that we did with a luminous cloud, all of us practicing together, it just chased away all my shadows. That's what she said. Like the power around visualization, especially the power around doing this work together with others. I know we're each in our separate rooms, but I was just did a conference, my first online conference, all the talking heads with all the people. I always wonder, who are these people, giving their expert opinion? Well, I was one of these people for this conference. And one of the things I talked about was the transition from online sessions to, in-person, in-venue sessions to online sessions. And the thing that I referred to was the magic of our group participation through Zoom. Like we're in this Zoom room together. I know this is a webinar format, but there's an energy connection that occurs. I really valued in-person events because we all felt connected to the same energy. There's a group energy that assisted each of us individually through the group practice. But I was experiencing, and other people were experiencing the same thing just through the Zoom connection. So one of those mysteries that hard to explain, but we can have this same group experience, even though we're each meditating, each practicing in our own space. We're going to create our own inner light here with this following technique. And it's about increasing brightness. We're going to start with a light bulb that's shining in our chest. And then we're going to increase that brightness, really increase it, really, really brightly. And then we're going to decrease it. Then we're going to increase it again and decrease it. This is a technique that helps us to turn on our light. So we're the ones who are emanating our light outward. We're the ones shining out. Some of you have done my work with the law of attraction. And the law of attraction, in fact, tonight is part 2 of a 2-part series through Wellspring. I did one earlier. I think there's one scheduled for the new year, probably not promoted yet. But the law of attraction basically is, I nurture or I attract to my life whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to, whether it's positive or negative. I attract or nurture in my life whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to, whether it's positive or negative. So we need to put our attention on the light rather than the dark. We're all so good. I've done this. We've all done this. We put our attention on our depression. We put our attention on our darkness, on our sorrows. And when we do that, we're nurturing that. We're feeding it. So very often it's a choice that we make. We need to make that choice. We can choose to be happy. The name of a book from many years ago. I looked it up and I couldn't find the exact book that I knew a long time ago, but there's several books out there called Choosing to be Happy. I'm sure they all are talking about more or less the same theme. We're choosing to be happy. We're choosing to be in the light. We're the ones emanating the light. We're lighting other people up through our light. This technique helps us to turn on our light, so we're the one transferring the light to other people. So let's practice this. And of course, when we're in the light, we're feeling happy, we're feeling good, and we're feeling less stress. A lot of stress involved in feeling sad and depressed. A lot of stress involved there. And you've heard the term too, if you are happier, you're healthier. So choose to be happy. Choose to be the person filled with light. Even though you might be going through a health crisis, and I know many of you are, there's a healing journey involved, but we can be proactive. That's what these techniques are all about, giving you tools for your toolkit to be proactive. You can make that choice. You practice, you get better with practice. You're the ones emanating the light. You're the ones helping other people with your light, helping to light them up by your light and your happiness. Okay, palms together. Rubbing the palms together. One palm over the center of the chest, the other palm over the back. Just do energetically, do what feels natural, whether it's the right palm first or the left palm first. Do what feels natural for you. Drop your attention down to your heart center. Picture a light shining here, 40 watts of brightness. 40 watts of brightness. Now, as if you have a dimmer switch, increase the brightness of this 40 watts to 100 watts. When you're comfortable with this 100 watts of brightness, increase to 1,000 watts. 1,000 watts of brightness. Now 100,000 watts, really bright. Let the boundaries of yourself dissolve. Your 1,000, your 100,000 watts of brightness just radiating. And now the brightness of the sun. And now 100 suns. Blazing, so bright. No place for your shadows to hide. And now decrease the brightness back down to the brightness of a single sun. You're using your inner dimmer switch. Decrease the brightness back down to 100,000 watts of brightness. Back down to 1,000. 100. Back down to 40. Now we repeat. We go from 40 to 100. We go from 100 to 1,000. We go from 1,000 to 100,000 watts of brightness radiating out from us in all directions. Now to the brightness of a single sun. Now 100 suns. I know when they write up, I say 100,000 suns, but that's pretty bright. 100 suns is pretty bright. No place for your shadows to hide. They're being blown away by the light, reducing the brightness back down to the brightness of a single sun. 100,000 watts of brightness. 1,000, 100, and back down to 40. One more time. From 40 to 100, a little more quickly now, to 1,000, 100,000 watts of brightness. The brightness of our sun. And now 100 suns. How many people can you light up with your brightness if you were to shine with 100 suns of brightness? Decreasing back down to the brightness of a single sun, 100,000 watts, 1,000, 100, and back down to 40. And simply sit still and be aware for a few moments. And enjoy the afterglow of this light meditation. Just enjoy the afterglow. There's still a bit of the radiance that remains. You've tapped into your inner light. You've brought it to the surface. And you have opened yourself up and you have let it shine outward in all directions. Enjoy the afterglow. Take a nice slow deep inhalation, gently tensing your body. Exhaling and relaxing. How's everyone doing? Okay? So much joy. You know, we do these light practices and it generates that which is ready to be generated within you. We have peace within us. We have calmness. We have harmony within us. We have joy. We've got bliss in us. All we have to do is wash away all the waves of turbulence. We have to wash away all the things that are in the way, all the other things we've been putting our attention on. And these positive feelings will just naturally emanate out from us, this light. And of course, when we're feeling this light, it's not unusual to feel joy, to feel love. You know, all these things are tied together. Okay. Going to shift now. There's another light practice, which we'll get to if we have time, but I don't want to gloss over sleep technique. Also important for many of us. And I have spoken to a lot of people over the last months that you know, they're having so much trouble with sleep. The stresses of our times, you know, not just COVID, but COVID with health issues, relationship challenges, all these things, you know, affecting our ability to sleep well. And I've been teaching sleep techniques at Wellspring for a long time. Very often I do full workshops on sleep. And sleep is one of the best medicines. You know, doctor will say, you know, metaphorically, but you know, in practice too, here, take this pill and get lots of rest. And what do? We take the pill, but we don't rest a lot. So we need to sleep. And very often when we're going through and people are going through their treatment for cancer, the treatment itself causes a lot of sleep issues. So you're fatigued all the time, you don't have a lot of energy, a lot of vitality, and you're wanting to sleep, but you're not sleeping well. So it's like you're drugged on lack of sleep. So there are many techniques that can help. In fact, what I'll say here is, if you go to my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel is just my name, Tony Murdock. You look for the Tony Murdock who looks like me. There's another Tony Murdock that doesn't look like me, and he sings country and western songs and wears a hat. That's not me. But you go to my channel on meditation, and there is a video on there demonstrating other techniques on how to sleep. So you're welcome to view that. In fact, what I'll do afterward, so I know a lot of these videos are shared for the members, Wellspring Niagara. I don't know if my sleep video is available through the Wellspring Niagara website, but I'm happy to make it available. So it's 50 minutes of sleep techniques. So Kristen, if you're listening to this, I'll send you that link later on, and you can view it if you like. But it's basically the key elements of my sleep workshop, and it'll help people through their sleep challenges. But here's one of the key cornerstone techniques from the Feldenkrais organization. Realize I spelled the name wrong on the handout. It's not IAS, it's AIS. But this technique is a favorite for a lot of people. And I want to share that with you, because if we are getting a good night's sleep, then we are going to face our challenges with a lot more of a cushion. We're not going to be as reactive to things. We won't feel as much stress. So getting a good night's sleep is very, very helpful. Now, here it is, and I'm going to have to demonstrate to you. I'll verbalize it as well, in case some of you are just listening in on phone lines. But it's easier to see through video. We're going to hold our fingers in a certain way. And we have to know our rights from our lefts. Our rights from our lefts. And you'll understand what I mean by this. So with the right hand, my right hand, I'm going to come like so and grab my left thumb. My right hand is grabbing my left thumb. Now I'm going to stick out my right index finger and grab that now with my fingers of the left hand. So I'm doing this. Once again, my right hand is going to come in like so and grab my left thumb. I'm going to stick out my right index finger, and I grab that finger with my left fingers. And I hold on lightly, not tightly, but lightly. And relax the shoulders. Now, this technique is best done lying down on your back. It's hard to hold your fingers this way lying on your side or on your belly, but lying on your back. And this is what we're going to do. As we turn our attention to our breathing, we'll pay attention to the in-breath and pay attention to the out-breath. And as we breathe in, with our right hand, we will very gently squeeze the left thumb, very gently as we breathe in, and then we relax that squeeze out. Then breathing in, we gently squeeze again. Breathing out, we relax the squeeze. We do that 10 times. Then for the next 10 breaths, the left hand, with the left hand, we will squeeze the right index finger and then relax that with the out breath. And we'll do that 10 times. I'll guide you through this process, but you will be breathing at your own rhythm, doing your own count. Now, one of the things that I have found helpful, and other people have found helpful, there's nothing magical about the number 10, but if you are counting backwards from 10, it acts a little bit like self-hypnosis. It just helps, there's more of a calming effect to the backward count. So the first squeeze is 10, the second squeeze is 9, the third squeeze is 8, and we work down to 1 or 0. And then we go to the other hand, the alternate hand with the finger, and we do that 10 times. Now, this is just the beginning part of the practice. My intention here is not to put you all to sleep, just to show you how it's done, but we're going to do a little practice here. So just imagine you're lying in bed, and maybe some of you are lying down. So this could make you a little sleepy, but I do want you to remain awake for the balance of our class. Okay, so just imagine, close your eyes, the lights are out. Turn your awareness to your breathing, the in-breath and the out-breath. As you breathe in, right hand gently squeezes the thumb. Breathing out, relax the squeeze. And you can count 10 or 1. Next breath, you don't hurry the breath. Right hand gently squeezes the thumb again, so either count up or count down. That's the second one. And we'll do this 10 times, 10 or 11 times, depending on your count. Don't squeeze too hard. Not a hard squeeze, very gentle squeeze, but you are very aware of the gentle squeeze. You put your attention on the gentle squeeze. Everyone will have their own breathing rhythm. And when you count up to 10 or you have counted down to 1 or 0, you might have a couple more breaths to go. Then continue, but this time you use the left hand and you squeeze the right index finger. When you're finished with the 10 and then the next 10, just relax and assess, do a self-assessment. How do I feel? Normally in a class, I'd ask everyone to open their eyes, and that's an indication you have finished your 10 plus 10. But finish your practice, and I'll continue speaking here and giving you the full practice. You would continue. You go back to where you started from. If you're not asleep yet or not feeling tired, generally it takes, that's one rotation, 10 plus 10. You do it again, and then you do it again. And you may find yourself starting to drift off. The idea is you're putting your attention, you're getting out of the frenetic mind, You're moving out of the frenetic mind. You're putting your attention on the gentle muscle movement and squeezing the thumb 10 times and then the index finger 10 times. That's where your attention is. Gets you out of that frenetic thinking place that often keeps us awake at night. And it drops our awareness down into the body. The first time I did this, I did 10 to one side, 10 to the other, 10, and then I was asleep. I did like 10, 10, 10. I was gone. And I found that I was more aware of that point where I'd fall asleep. Very, very interesting. I was just more aware of that falling asleep moment. So this happened several nights in a row, and I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm falling asleep pretty quickly, but was I tired anyway? Is it a technique that's working? And then one night, I went 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I was getting tired of trying to get tired. I wasn't falling asleep. It was, oh, it's not working. It's the first time. It's not working. And I stopped. I rolled over onto my side, and I swear that I fell asleep before I finished rolling over. I was just gone, submerged into a deep sleep. It was wonderful. Now, this technique can be used if you wake up in the middle of the night. So a lot of people have this challenge. They may fall asleep relatively easily, but then the sleep is short, not as long as it needs to be. You wake up, perhaps a trip down the hall, you come back, and then same thing, you're not able to fall back to sleep. So what you can do is practice this. You're not sleeping. So if you're not sleeping, why not practice? And this happened to me where I woke up in the middle of the night and I had trouble falling back to sleep. And I was starting to get a little anxious because I had 3 workshops to do, actually 3 Wellspring location workshops to do the next day, 3 different locations. That's a lot of driving around the GTA. And I needed a good night's sleep. So I remembered this practice. So I started practicing. I fell back to sleep. I woke up with the alarm feeling refreshed. I lost maybe 30 minutes of sleep time altogether, but I woke up as if that wasn't an issue at all. So this practice I've been sharing for a long time. It's taught by the Feldenkrais organization. I found it online in a Chatelaine magazine article. I was doing a Google search on how to get a good night's sleep, and this technique popped up, and it's been part of my instruction routine for a long time. They have a program called Sleep Sounder. I don't know if it's still active or how active they are online. I haven't looked them up for a while, but I know people who have gone to do the Sleep Sounder workshop and received a lot of benefit from that. So that's the simple technique. And when I do the fuller workshop, there's some alternates to it that I share. And it's very important to get a good night's sleep.